everyone, this is Tamara from ShelfAddiction.com, and welcome to episode 54. We're here live today recapping and reviewing episode 8, the mid-season finale of The Walking Dead Season 7. If you're listening live, leave us a comment on Spreaker. We want to hear your thoughts on last night's episode. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like and share it. Show us your support by rating the podcast and leaving a positive review. The podcast can be found on the Spreaker app, iTunes, Google Play Music, the Stitcher app, and more. Joining me is PCS co-host, fellow TV junkie, and indie author Lisa Orban. Want to comment on something you hear during today's episode? Leave a comment below, or you can find me on Twitter at Shelf Addiction. You can also find Lisa on Twitter at Lisa Orban Author. Hey Lisa, good evening.
Hello Tamara. So how are you feeling after the last episode for the season, or for the mid-season?
I am feeling very overwhelmed in the best way possible. There was so much going on. How about you?
Oh, not too bad. I am a little disappointed. My prediction did not come true. He did not take the baby, but he did take Eugene, which is kind of a baby.
Yes.
So
yes. He's a big baby, actually.
He really is. I love Eugene, too. I mean, he's just such a sweet guy, but, he really could be in that. He's about as helpless as, well, Judith is.
Oh, I know, right? Well, he can make the bullets, but that's about it.
Right. Well, I mean, no, he's very, very smart. He's obviously autistic. I think he's, but he is really intelligent. He just doesn't have those social skills or survival skills.
Yeah, right. Oh, my gosh. That whole scene when he was trying to figure out who made the bullet, I'm like, how long is this going to take before he crumbles? Because he's so weak. I'm like, oh, God, he can't. But, I guess that's a good thing that you can't stand for other people to be killed or hurt because of something you did. Right. But, I mean, Rosita was going to go hard all the way. She was.
I was so mad at her. God, I was mad at her. That was the dumbest thing she could have done. She's a flippin' sharpshooter. She could have gotten a stupid gun and she could have shot him from a distance. She had a bullet. She could have put it in a different gun.
I know. No. At first, when she whipped the gun out, I'm like, oh my God, she's going to do it. And then, no, you didn't.
And how did she miss him and hit the bat?
I know.
From that distance. Oh my God. Apparently, she's a stormtrooper.
Apparently.
I was so mad. God, I was mad.
Oh, I know. I'm like, you know what? But you know what, though? That was the catalyst that everyone needed to, that started, the domino effect where Rick got where he needed to be, finally. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, and it really did show. I mean, it did illustrate that no matter what they do, they're going to fall. Although, going back over to the kingdom, when King Ezekiel's first lieutenant went to talk to Morgan and Carol, and all I could, he's like, we need to attack. I'm like, no.
Yeah, right. Not yet.
Not by yourselves. Not yet. Because we all know that just ended badly.
Right.
And they don't have the numbers. And then when Michonne was taken up to that ridge there and looked down and saw how big that complex was. Mm-hmm. I mean, she just went, oh, Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You could just see her go, oh, okay, this is a bigger problem than I really thought.
Exactly. Like, oh crap, hold on. But you know what though? I have to say that when it kind of came out that Negan made the deal with the kingdom or whatever, I kind of felt like I didn't believe it. I mean, he made a deal with everyone technically, but it seems like they got off real easy. why was he scared of them? I don't understand. Just because he had, an animal? Is that what scared him?
I don't know. It could be the tiger. I mean, that tiger is pretty impressive. And it could just be Ezekiel's presence. Yeah. He is, I don't know. I think Negan may have looked at King Ezekiel and went, his madness matches mine.
In all of his acting glory.
In all of his acting glory, yes. But I kind of think that, I think at the time that Negan made the deal, and this apparently has been ongoing for quite some time, Negan has been steadily gaining strength, but he has not always been this strong. And he has not always had this number of people. So it may have it may have been a matter of, while he was consolidating his power base, so to speak, if he could make a deal with King Ezekiel, I think he might have thought it is a better resource for him. Because Negan's, he's an asshole, but, he is cunning.
Yeah. But you know what? You spoke about, him gaining strength and being strong. But there was something that happened in this episode that, to me, clearly signaled a change of the power. Because, in so far, it seems like when someone has a beard, it means they're powerful or they're strong. When they don't have a beard, they're weak. At least that's what it seems like when they've made references to the beard and things like that. So now that he shaved his and Rick is growing his, you know what I'm saying?
All right, Samson, you're in trouble now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't actually really thought too much about that. I was thinking more along the lines of, he was of Norman Reedus. He was left that key and a map and cleared, and the way was cleared for him more or less. So I think it was more than just what's her name. Dwight's wife. I think that.
Aha! Yeah. See, you know it's Sherry now too. Yes.
Well, yeah, but no, I think there's a bit more going on. I think there is a slow growing uprising in Negan's camp. I mean, there are still a lot of dedicated followers. Don't get me wrong. And a head-on-head clash between the two of them is going to not work. But I think if they are sneaky and they infiltrate and they, turn into double agents, because there are, because when they were at the end, when they were talking about, we have to take them down, we can't just blow them up, because they do have that capability. They could just go in and blow the whole place to hell.
Right.
But then again, there are a lot of people that are there not because they want to be, but because they're being forced to be. They're quote unquote working off their debt to Negan. So, yeah, I think that this is gonna be more stealth than blowy uppy.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm really looking forward to the back end of this season. I mean, they've really set up a lot. Like, know how we kind of assumed that they'd start the they'd get to the point where they decided they needed to band up and get together. And that started in a strong way. It was good. It was a feel-good moment at the end, even though they had some kills. Obviously, we had to kill somebodies, because we haven't had a real death, like, in a couple episodes, I think. But
yeah, and this one we have 3.
Yeah, but I still feel like they were winning. Like, at the end of that episode, when they came together and, they saw that, Maggie was okay and Daryl was with them, and they kind of had this understanding. Yeah. It was like they're winning right now. They got rid of the dead weight, a.k.a. Spencer.
Honestly, I can't feel bad about him dying.
Yeah.
The only thing, again, I'm mad about is Sasha. Or not Sasha, but Rosita pulling that gun out blatantly. But, again, it wasn't a good catalyst.
Yeah.
And, so yeah, to see them all together is good. And I think everyone's feeling just a little bit of warm and fuzzy, going, the band's back together.
I know, that's how I felt, but just wait until Negan gets back there and he sees that Daryl is gone. He's going to kill some people right away, probably.
Oh, it's going to be bad.
Oh,
it's going to be bad. Because number one, up till this point, everyone that's escaped has not gotten far, from what I understand. Maybe a mile or two. And the fact that Daryl not only escaped, he got clean out away.
Right.
And managed to grab Rick's gun while he was at it.
Right. Well, you know what? Like, she set it up perfectly, though. The timing was impeccable. The fact that Negan was gone, and he'd been gone, he's lollygagging around in Alexandria. I mean, maybe he wouldn't have gotten as far if Negan was there, ordering people around. But, Well, you guys, I have to tell you, unfortunately, we're having a little bit of a technical difficulty, and Lisa's lagging a little bit behind. So sorry if our conversation's a little broken up, but we'll do our best. Anyway, what was I saying before? Can you hear me? Oh, she's back.
Yeah, now.
And she's back. Yes. I got sidetracked momentarily.
Oh, we were talking about Negan losing it, man. Losing it.
Yeah. So you're good though, right? You're good. You can hear? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were talking about how Negan's going to lose his you know what when he gets back there. And essentially, Sherry's timing was perfect because Negan was gone. And because of that, that's how Daryl got away. So essentially, I see Sherry coming back into the mix, and I see Sherry kind of work. Maybe she'll somehow escape and get with the saviors, not the saviors, the survivors, to help them out again. Maybe even her husband will escape. I don't know. Maybe that's thinking too generously.
Too far. Well, I mean, you can see that she has a soft spot, and Dwight is actively, really mulling over his life choices at this point.
Yeah.
And I think really kicking himself even too for going back to Negan. They were almost clean away. If they had stuck with Daryl, things could have gone very differently. Yeah. Very different for everybody.
For sure.
Because he knew what Negan's group was like, and they never would have attacked the satellite, and a lot of this stuff could have been avoided. And they could have snuck up on Negan's group knowing their full strength. Mm-hmm. So, and Dwight also has a good idea of how many settlements there are, where they're located at, and all that information. So I'm pretty sure Dwight's really mulling over the things that he's done. He's lost his wife. He's had his face burned. Things are not good.
No. Right.
And I think he's even seeing that even Negan's group is getting wonky around the edges.
Oh,
so,
yeah, they are. Yeah. So, what do you think about Michonne and her little speech to Rick? Like, do you think that helped him, or do you think it was kind of just talk?
I think so. I think Rick was like right there hanging on the edge of the fence. You could see him ready to leap one way or the other. You saw him look at that piece of paper that was basically, you won but you lost. Mm-hmm. And the axe. And I think both are really symbolic because in a way, even if they win, quote unquote, with Negan's group and they just settle down and just keep paying tribute, they've still lost.
Yeah.
And he's looking at the axe, that he was holding when they met Negan's group and threatened to cut off his own son's hand, or to have that happen. And so, I mean, I'm thinking he's really looking at those things, and he's just sitting there staring at him. And I think that was it. He was right there on the fence going, what are my options? And if I win, am I still losing? And when Michonne came in and said, we can do this together, I think it gave him that final push that he needed to get over the other side and really commit to it.
And I think also it didn't hurt that, she said, we have to do this for Carl and for Judith and come on, knowing that Carl, after you learn that your son went there and killed people trying to get at him, it's kind of like, well, I can't not do anything because he's going to keep trying to do something.
Right. Well, and then he can see that everyone is. Michonne took off to go and track down Negan. And we got, Rosita, who tried to shoot him right there in the middle of Main Street. We've got Carl. And so, and then he also kind of saw that what happened with, and now I just said the guy that died, the one that just died.
Spencer?
Spencer. And even saw what happens when people become comfortable with their conquerors.
Oh, yeah.
And even that didn't, him sucking up to Negan and giving him the whiskey and the pool table and the friendly, whatever, did not endear him to Negan. It didn't help them. It hurt him.
Yeah.
And so, I think Rick is taking all of this into processing all of that and going, even if we win, we lose.
Yeah.
So,
but you know what, though? Actually, that was pretty smart on Negan's part because, when someone does that, they're weak. And he said it. He said, why didn't you just kill Rick and take over? Why didn't you just do it?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I don't need you to be in charge. You're a loser. Like, you can't even take care of your own business.
And Spencer always has been. Yeah. He's always been a very weak character. He's not very likable. And he always kind of reminded me of like a scurrying rat. Mm-hmm. He's going around collecting things and then scurrying off and just trying to, I don't know. He was never really in it for the group.
Exactly.
He was always in it for himself, because even before Rick showed up, he was hoarding things. Mm-hmm. It wasn't Rick's group. Rick's, everything that really happened was not entire. I mean, some of it was Rick's fault, but most of it was not Rick's fault.
You know what? If Rick and the crew did not come there, they would have been dead. It would only have been a matter of time before the walkers got in.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. I mean, they're and with the wall, I mean, they even said that the wall was not strong enough as it was. Mm-hmm. And, we know we need to do this. We just haven't gotten around to it, Mm-hmm. All right, come on, people. Exactly. What else have you got to do with your time? It's the apocalypse.
I mean, remember that episode where they had the stupid walking parade of walkers to, like, lure them away? I mean, they would have been so done. It would have been over.
Yeah. And, I mean, Alexandria has survived mostly on luck up to this point. Mm-hmm. There had been the dam, or not the dam, but the quarry that had been kind of sucking in all the walkers. But, again, right shortly after Rick showed up, the dam broke and they got out. Mm-hmm. And so one way or another, they were getting out, and Alexandria would have been overrun. And if it wasn't for Rick's group, they never even would have known it was happening until it was too late.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and, because, luck can get you fairly far, but it'll only get you so far.
Right.
And they had, I mean, there was a couple of their, they had like maybe, 4 people that went out into the world and kind of scavenged. Mm-hmm. But they couldn't convince everyone else how it was out there.
Right.
And now they were lucky, though, I think, because since they had such a few number, they could, at that point, not be as exposed to the rest of, like, Negan's group and stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I Alexandria just, they had it lucky, and, it was time to pay the dues.
Oh, yeah, it was. Actually, speaking of that, like, even at Hilltop, I really liked how it was almost like a turning point episode where they really tried to, like, set things up properly for the back end of this, for us to be ready to go to war. They set things up for, Maggie to be the quote-unquote, the president or whatever they call it.
Yeah, she's there, man. She's popular.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, is she, like, when the whole apple thing, like...
Yeah, the apple pie. Yeah. It's an apple pie, isn't it? Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like, wow. I feel like Maggie is going to be a strong leader. She knows what's up. She's come a long way as a character.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she was never a weak character.
Yeah.
But she has become secure in her own self, really over the last probably 2 seasons. And you can really see it. It's not that, she no longer hesitates. She knows who she is, and she knows what she's capable of, and she doesn't have a problem asserting that any longer.
Right. And that's exactly why, what's her name? I'm forgetting her name. She was kind of telling her, the other little girl, the young girl, like, you can't tell, you cannot tell her, because she's going to want to fight. She's going to want to do, all this stuff and get herself hurt. So
right, and she's like, but there's others, and I know she was thinking of Carl,
right?
But in a lot of ways, there's a lot, and again, there's all these 6 or 7, 5 or 6 different people all have their own little plan on how we're going to get Negan, and the problem is everyone needs to get together and figure out together, as Michonne said, and then we can. And I think, and now that they're going to be going into and meeting the kingdom, that should be, I can't wait to see Rick's reaction to to the king.
You know, I want to know if he's going to be like, this guy is a crackhead, or, you know, or if, are they going to reveal, you know, what's her face? Is she going to reveal to him at some point, well, you know, it's really an act, but, you know, he's got his thing going and we should follow along?
Yeah.
Carol.
Let him do his thing. Let him do his thing. Well, and it's interesting because while Carol is pretty much saying, just tell everyone to leave me alone. And right. I think Morgan will honor that until he finds out what has happened.
Exactly.
And
yeah, that's going to go out the window for sure.
Yeah. I think, you know, I mean, there have been too many deaths. I mean, the fact that, you know, especially Glenn. And now, I mean, I think if Daryl had still been gone, that would have been more of a prompt for her because, you know, her and Daryl have a long-standing, close relationship. But even still, when she finds out that Daryl has been tortured, Glenn was killed, you know, Abraham was killed, you know, blah, 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 and everything that's going on, I think she's going to have a change of heart.
So do you think that, like, Morgan will get all of this intel from, you know, the group and then feed it back to her and then she'll be like, okay, I need to step up? Or do you think she'll find out another way, like running into one of them?
No, I think it'll be Morgan being there with King Ezekiel when they meet. Mm-hmm. And as, you know, and of course Morgan knows Rick and they'll catch up. Mm-hmm. And then I think Morgan will then go to Carol and say, you should know. And right. I don't think he's going to present it to her as we have to fight, but more you should know. Mm-hmm. And I think from there, Carol will probably just stand up and say, all right, I try to be nice. I really, really, really try to be nice. And you see what happens. Although I
almost think that she won't, like, immediately stand up and say, let's fight. I almost feel like Morgan or the, you know, King Ezekiel or whoever, they're going to be like, well, we're going to do this with or without you. And then after she mourns for a little bit, then she'll be like, okay.
Yeah. Well, and I kind of think Daryl may play a role in it too, because I mean, if she finds out everything that Daryl has been through, she's going to want to go and see him.
Yeah.
And I think Daryl will tell her how bad it is. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and let's face it, she lived under an abusive husband for years. And to find out basically that this is an entire population of people living under that kind of a relationship, so to speak, I think she's going to feel moved to do something. And when she finds out about the multiple wives and so on and so forth, I think it's going to affect her. And I don't think she is going to just jump up and go, okay, let's go. Yeah. But I think she is going to come to the conclusion that this is going to be the best choice. Mm-hmm. And do you have any thoughts on who the boot-laced boots are?
No, I don't. What do you think?
You know, I'm kind of thinking that it's King Ezekiel's lieutenant. Yeah. Because he does wear, you know, combat type boots to go with his, you know, sports armor. Mm-hmm. But I've never really seen his boots that closely, so I can't tell. Right. But I do know he is searching for something to motivate King Ezekiel to move. Yeah. So I don't know. Because I'm really racking my brain and trying to think back if there's been anybody else that they have really interacted with that would be spying on them.
Right. I don't know.
And the only other thing I can think of is if it was someone from maybe the Wolf Pack.
Or maybe, I mean, I know it's a long shot, but maybe it's someone from Oceanside. Maybe it's actually a woman from Oceanside.
You know, I hadn't even given that any thought.
Yeah.
Not even a little bit.
I feel like because they introduced them this season, we're going to see them again and at some point. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, you really can't tell from booted feet if it's male or female, so right. It could be either. Right. But I just kind of discounted them. But, now that you say that, that's not a bad, projection. I guess we'll have to find out.
Yeah. I look forward to getting another one right.
I'm a little disappointed about the baby thing, but, I am glad that she wasn't taken by Negan.
Oh my God, Negan is so revolting. I'm like, oh gosh. Oh, thank God
And,
that didn't happen.
well, and you know, if you think about it, up until honestly until the end, I mean, I kept thinking, is he going to take that baby? Because,
Hmm.
you know, he kept talking about how nice it was and the family, and he made spaghetti and
Yeah,
you know, yada yada. I mean, that whole family thing,
right,
and he has no children, and I know he's trying to get one of his wives at least pregnant, and he hasn't
right,
had any luck.
right.
I don't think he had any children before the apocalypse. He had a wife, but no children as far as I know. And you know, so I think that whole idea of having an heir, of having a family, of you know, having someone that loves them, not fears them, is something that he does want. So looking at Judith, going, well, you know, I did say half is mine, and
Well,
he
you
takes
know what?
people.
I'd like to think that Negan is smart enough to know not to cross that line. Because if he had a doubt in his mind that Rick would flip the script and go nuts on him, if he had an inkling, then taking his child, which he knows to be his child, would
Yeah,
be the only thing that would probably flip that switch the way he,
yeah,
what he doesn't
right.
want to happen.
You know, the declaration of war,
Right.
and yeah. So and again, I mean, I know that I mean Negan is cunning. He is not he's not a brilliant person, but he is cunning and he's meticulous.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a certain amount of what's going on with him is as much of an act as King Ezekiel has an act. They're just complete opposites of each other. But yeah, I don't know. I kept thinking that like he's just you know sometimes he's just such a terrible person.
Right,
And
right.
you know, maybe he really thinks that Rick is that broken that he could get away with this.
No.
And but then again, if things had not gone quite as south as they did, and you know, with you know the bullet and the you know this that and the other, he might have. You know,
Yeah.
because it's kind of hard to say because I don't think a lot of times Negan knows what he's doing. He's just going with the flow.
Yeah. But I'd like to say as a human being that has also, that has lost people, as most of us or all of
Hmm.
us have at some point. I mean, I don't want to undercut the feelings that Rick would have, from losing, his people, but
Hmm.
at the same time, pain dulls. And after the pain
Yeah,
starts to subside, he's going to be like, "Wait a minute."
yeah, oh yeah,
So his days were numbered anyway. I mean,
yeah. And I mean Rick's group is again not like the rest of the settlements that Negan has overrun.
right.
Um, these guys were not settled. You know, they have spent more of their time unsettled than settled,
Mm-hmm.
and they have been through an exceptional amount. I mean, Hilltop up until Negan's arrival had been fairly sheltered.
Mm-hmm.
Alexandria, you know, was fairly sheltered. Even the kingdom, and the kingdom is right now, even to this day, sheltered.
Yep.
So the settlements have been sheltered, and their people are not hardened. They're not as bloody. They're not as because most groups that have gone through what Rick's group has gone through simply die.
Mm-hmm.
They die out because the attrition rate is atrocious.
Mm-hmm.
But Rick's group has banded together and has formed this very strong bond, and they have grown stronger together. And so their group is very, very different than every other group that Negan has encountered, and I don't think Negan has taken that into account.
Right. I agree with that completely. Like he really doesn't know what he's up against, even though
Mm-mm.
they keep telling him. Like even Spencer said, "Hey, Rick will take
Yeah,
over." I mean, other people. I mean, even Carl said, "You don't want to go toe to toe with us. We're bad." I
yeah,
mean, people have told him, but
yeah.
he doesn't believe it.
No, because I mean, up until this point, he really hasn't
Yeah.
run into any true resistance. And
Yeah.
again, you know, I mean, settlements are surviving. Don't get me wrong, but they haven't had to survive outside of those walls, which is very different.
Mm-hmm.
It's a completely different kind of survival because they know they can run back there. They know there's safety. They know they have a place to sleep. You know, and if you're, you know, and for the most part, enough food to eat.
Right.
They're not starving to death.
Right.
So, there has been a certain normalcy that's gone on in the settlements that Rick's group had to completely shed.
Mm-hmm.
And, they've had, the trial by fire. And that makes them extreme adversaries. And they may get beaten back, but they come back again after they've had a chance to lick their wounds and regroup. So yeah, I don't think I don't think Negan understands exactly what he's gotten himself into, just because up to this point things have gone a very specific way for him.
Right. Oh, he will know. He will know He will know within the next two or three episodes at most when we come back at the back into this season.
Yep, in February. I don't want to wait till February.
I know, it's such a long wait. I hate that. It's horrible.
I was looking over everything we watched. I'm going, oh my God, everything is taking its, hiatus almost. I don't like this.
Actually, my reading will like this because I can get ahead on my reading and be several book reviews ahead for once. I can catch up. Yes.
This is true. I hadn't really thought about it like that. But
yeah.
So yeah, I really liked how they ended this mid-season so much better than this season ending. And honestly, I actually had to pick up my phone because I truly thought when Rosita shot him, or just shot at him, and it went black, I'm like, oh my God, how much time we got left? Right. I thought that's how they were going to end it. Because I hadn't been paying attention to the time.
That would have been like an angry ending. Like to make us wait that long to figure out if she killed him, that would have been cruel.
I know. But it was, I don't know if you noticed or not, but that was right on the hour mark.
Yeah.
So if this had been a regular episode, that's how it would have ended. Period. Right there. And I know that they kind of like to do that to us because they want us wondering, they want us speculating. But honestly, I'm so happy they didn't. I like how they ended this. They got the band back together, and there was those moments between Daryl and Rick and everybody, and that smile on Maggie's face when she looked down, and she, you didn't know who it was that was coming up, but that it was such a beautiful smile that she had.
Yeah.
And you could just see, it was just this amazing.
That's her family, It was like a relief, like, oh my gosh, they're here,
Yeah. And she could see who has made it. And, and she knows that things have got, that things have gotten very bad. And, and then for Daryl to step out, and everyone's face when Daryl stepped out, and they're like, oh, it was just, it was so amazing.
Exactly. It was. Daryl, oh my God, Daryl. When he got out of there, oh my God, I'm like, and then Jesus was like, Daryl, what are you doing? Yeah. He's like, reel him in. Oh, I just love Daryl. I was happy he got back with his team. I'm like, oh, thank God.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He had become somewhat feral. You could tell by the attack. Because he's like, dude, I'm just eating a sandwich here. I won't say a thing. I'm just trying to survive. And honestly, knowing his character, we've kind of seen him a little bit this season. I honestly think he just would have hidden the pantry or something. I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything because he was not a strong character. But I also know that Daryl had a lot of aggression to take out on the Saviors. And tag, you're it.
And if you're going to crumble this easy with me, you're going to tell what's his face the minute I leave here. Yeah. So, sorry for you. Wrong place, wrong time. You're dead.
Exactly. And I think there was something symbolic too, because, Daryl beat him to death with a pipe.
Oh, I know. It was kind of Negan-esque, wasn't it?
Yeah. There was something symbolic. It was not because that was his weapon of choice, was what he had. It was available. But, he did also have a knife, and he could have chosen to use that. But instead, he bludgeoned him to death. And I think that he had a lot of aggression to get out.
For sure.
It needed a vent. And, but I think that he'll be kind of messed up in the head for a while. But now that he's back with his family, now that he's back with the group, I think he will heal again. And I don't think it will actually even take as much for him to bounce back as it would for, say, someone from Hilltop or Alexandria.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's gone
He's
through
hard.
this before. He's hard.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that he can't break, but he can recover a little more quickly, I think.
I think so. Yeah, so, that was tough for him, but he made it through, and he's gonna be killing people, boy. He's gonna be killing people.
Well, and he really has been more the voice of reason.
Yeah.
A lot. Hey, we can still trust people. We can still take them in. We can still do good. We can still.
Yeah.
And I don't think that he's going to change that stance completely, because let's face it, in this world they're going to have to. They're going to have to start taking in more people just to become viable. To be viable communities, you need, a certain number of people, and the minimum is 2,000, and I don't think there are 2,000 people there altogether.
Right. At least not in that state.
Yeah. So, just to become a viable community, you need more people. And you can't, you're going to, and I think they really, the test they have you ever killed anybody? Have you, why? And, the list of questions, I think that they will go back to that eventually, because they can't just kill everyone they meet. And because
it's just not possible.
It's not possible.
Yeah.
And it's not even a good thing. Because there is strength in numbers. And Negan, instead of killing everyone he's met, involving them into his group, has created this juggernaut, just because he was collecting rather than killing.
Yeah.
So.
Well, this was an awesome episode, I gotta say. So let's make a prediction just for fun. So, they're not going to let us out of this season. We are not going to say goodbye to season 7 without at least one more major death. When they are fighting him at the end, we are going to have one more major death. We've got to. They're not going to let us off that easy. Who do you think it's going to be?
I don't know, but I kind of want to just say Rick.
Uh-huh.
Rick has.
I wouldn't be entirely surprised.
Rick has served his purpose.
Yeah.
He has gotten them this far. He is, but Rick is as much of a liability as he is an asset.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know if I kind of want to say him.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, I could also see it being Morgan or Carol.
Mm-hmm. I actually think more along the lines of Carol. It's been like pulling teeth to drag her along the last couple seasons. It's like, what is going on with this chick? She wants out. So it wouldn't entirely surprise me if she dies. Maybe not because someone outright kills her, but maybe she falls on the sword for someone else and she dies that way. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if it was Carol, I don't know. Someone from that original team is going to go down. I'm not entirely convinced that it will be Rick, though. His face is on everything. That would be... Yeah. And they would never dare take Daryl because they would have an uprising. So,
but can you just see it? The epic showdown between Negan and Rick.
Yeah.
The fight to the end, gun against bat, or whatever. Yeah. Or axe against bat. And, the Clash of the Titans here.
It wouldn't surprise me, though, if Rick came really close to death. The beatdown was so horrible with him fighting him that it came close to him dying, but he scrapes by the skin of his teeth type of thing.
On the final episode, the last 2 minutes, you see him just going, a little twitch in the finger. We're going, did he live? Did he die?
Yeah.
Check in next season. So, I don't know. I don't. Yeah, like I said, I agree with you. There's going to be more deaths, but I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm curious to see how it all shakes out. They left us with a lot to chew on for the next 8 weeks or something like that. Oh, dreadful.
Bad.
I know. But you know, guys, this also means that we won't be on live again for another 8 weeks or so until The Walking Dead is back. So, yeah.
You're just going to have to survive with us once a week. I'm sorry, guys.
I know. For you Walking Dead fans, you have something to look forward to when we return, because we will be right here talking mess and trying to make predictions and hope we're right.
And I failed this week. I failed.
Hey, you can't win them all. That's what I'm going to say.
I try. So,
yep.
All right. So I hope everyone, has a really good Christmas break and enjoys the holidays and, have fun, drink responsibly.
Oh, for sure.
And enjoy your family. And then we'll, see you live again in 8 weeks.
Yes. And until then, catch us on, replay after the fact every Sunday. We'll still be here.
Yes,
pumping up the episodes every week.
Woo!
Yes. So subscribe and download and all that fun stuff. And we will see you next time. Are we done?
You're done.
All right. That's it for today's live episode, and we'll see you guys in 8 weeks. But before you go, please hit that follow button on Spreaker, the only place where you can listen live, or subscribe and listen later on iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher Radio, YouTube, and the Spreaker app. Thanks for listening. Till next time, happy viewing. Bye, guys.
Bye.